The first screening that I was really aware of having any major impact was at Universal. We took it out to Universal, and it was in the Alfred Hitchcock Theater, I believe it was. And there they all were, the boys, Sid and Frank, and was Lou there? He might have been there. There were a lot of people.
Antonowski's art house label definitely raised red flags at a studio that was not in the business of marketing specialty items. And when the lights came up at the first Universal screening of his movie, Terry knew he was in trouble.
And at the end of the film, I came in for the last 10 minutes, and I went up to the projection booth, and I was looking down, and I saw, as the lights came up, the back of those necks, and I knew we were in big trouble. I mean, every muscle was knotted, every tendon, ligament was just, there was hatred written all over the back of those heads. And I knew we're in big, big trouble. And we came down, the sun's shining, and everybody comes out. And, you know, everybody's non-committal, but you know what's going on. And Sid had this line, which apparently Arne and I took into totally different senses. And which was that, you know, we'll have to sell this as the film of the decade, which I knew meant that we're in trouble here. He doesn't have a clue. You can only sell it as something extraordinary, but you got to sell it hard because nobody's going to go to see this thing unless you con them. And Arnon, on the other hand, thought it was a positive statement, that it was indeed the film of the decade. And
yeah, I thought it was the greatest thing I've ever heard. I thought that I heard it's the best movie of the decade. Terry thought he heard it's the biggest problem of the decade, and he was right. You know me, I hear only positive things.
And the next day we had a meeting at Universal, and I wasn't supposed to come along apparently, but Arnon got me to come along, and unfortunately I arrived on time. Arnon never arrives on time, and so I arrive, go into the Black Tower and announce myself, and there's a moment of embarrassment because I'm not supposed to be there. This is supposed to be a meeting of the men, the adults, not the kids. And it was a meeting in Frank Price's office, who was head of production then. And I remember going up there, and it was like being brought into the headmaster's office, that I'd done a very, very bad thing.